Well, Dr. Swapnil Parekh is an infectious disease researcher in Mumbai. He's the author of The Coronavirus, What You Need to Know About the Global Pandemic. And I've been talking to him about whether he thinks travel bans are effective.
It's sad that we only look at the precautionary principle once the variant's already here. And we seem to ignore the precautionary principle, especially global vaccine equity, when it's most likely to have an impact. Travel bans can delay the arrival of the variant by us a few weeks at most, but they're not a long-term solution.
So when you talk about vaccine inequity, what do we need to think about more from here on?
Well, the southern part of the African continent for a long time had very little vaccine supply, and now they have a fair bit of vaccine hesitancy. So I think immediately we should look at increasing supply to areas where supply is deficient, but equally look at financial aid packages, which can be used to increase demand by providing $100 cash incentive for vaccination, which would be a lot of money in that part of the world, but equally also aid to the health systems in other areas and financial aid to businesses and the economy that would be impacted by these travel restrictions.
And if we look at your specialty of infectious diseases, I suppose it's a factor that this variant might not have originated in South Africa or Botswana, and variants can come from anywhere.
Of course, they're detected in areas that have robust surveillance systems, and South Africa, and especially the researchers that identify this, have great expertise and capacity in genomic surveillance. So it's plausible that this variant arose from a chronic infection in an immunocompromised host, which went on for a few months, maybe a year, and then it suddenly spread into the population, into the community, and was then detected by the robust surveillance systems there.
And are we right to assume that Omicron is going to be more dangerous than Delta?
I think it's important to prepare for that possibility. There's a great amount of uncertainty. We don't know. The fact does remain that it has very concerning mutations, and that's pretty much the information we have. We also have some very preliminary evidence, and this evidence can sometimes be biased, but that does suggest that this is very transmissible and there is a potential for some amount of immune evasion. So we need more information, but we need to be careful.
And I know from what you've written, what you've put on social media, that above all you feel we need more vaccination, that if people are given the option, you feel they should go for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very important to increase not just supply, but also demand. These aid packages might help in parts of the world where there is hesitancy, and increasing vaccine supply would also help. I think we're also seeing that, this is the second time we think a variant has emerged from a chronic infection in an immunocompromised host. So I think in areas of the world that the AstraZeneca vaccine has been used, there is some good evidence coming up now that an mRNA heterologous boost might be particularly beneficial there. So we should strongly consider that in individuals who are afflicted by immunocompromising conditions. And of course, improve the overall health system so that in areas where there is a high prevalence, a high burden of HIV/AIDS, that there is supply and uptake of services that can resolve that. And we urgently need more research into coronavirus vaccines that are going to be effective against future variants, pan-coronavirus vaccines, if you will, prophylactic antivirals, prophylactic monoclonal therapies for individuals who are susceptible to these chronic infections.